Howdy, y'all. My name is Bardo, and welcome to the pilot episode of my brand new YouTube channel, Disney Armchair, a channel where I talk a little about the past, a bit about the present, and a whole lot about the future of the Disney parks. This channel has been a long time coming for me, as the Disney parks were a pretty big part of my childhood, and I really enjoy discussing what's to come for them. In fact, this isn't my first foray into the world of YouTube, as my main thing is actually music over on my other channel, Bardometer. If you happen to be a fan of video game music and remixes, I'd appreciate it if you gave me a listen. But first, this channel isn't about music, and we've got something more interesting to discuss. Could Dark Kingdom become real? I'm not going to make you sit through the whole video before I answer that, so I'm just going to say my thoughts right now. Yes! But before I explain why, let me make sure we're all on the same page. So, if you don't know what Dark Kingdom is, or was, maybe, then don't worry, I have you covered. As far as I can tell, Dark Kingdom was a bit of an internet rumor, where some people were claiming that Disney had considered adding a fifth gate to Walt Disney World, which would, of course, be the titular Dark Kingdom. This park would be themed entirely towards the villains of Disney, prominently featuring characters such as Maleficent, Captain Hook, Ursula, and in some versions, even Chernabog. Now, I don't really think I have to say this, but it's obvious that this was just a rumor. The Disney parks are built with the idea of trying to make a very bright and happy place. Obviously, there are some attractions that challenge this idea, but many of those aren't meant for younger kids anyway, and there's plenty enough for them. But dedicating an entire park towards a theme that probably won't sit well with a younger audience would be a very bold and probably a very bad idea. But that isn't to say that I don't like it. I think the concept of a Disney park that has been twisted into a darker and more intimidating theme could be really interesting. In a way, it kind of reminds me of Wasteland from Epic Mickey. My main issue with it is just that a whole park seems like a big investment, especially for a theme that I don't think can really make it as far as, say, Hollywood Studios or even California Adventure. But we could downsize it and solve that issue. In fact, some variations of the rumor claimed instead that this could just be a land within a park such as Magic Kingdom. If you ask me, that seems a lot more plausible. Anyway, my point is, Dark Kingdom was just some rumor years ago and will never actually happen. Or will it? D23 2022. Disney Parks Experiences and Products Chairman Josh D'Amaro presented a look into the future of the Disney parks that was very dominated by concept art. We got a look at the concept art for the yet unnamed Avengers e-ticket attraction at California Adventure, concept art for the World of Frozen coming to Hong Kong Disneyland, concept art for the Zootopia Central Station at Shanghai Disney Resort, and some other fun stuff with concept art too. However, I think most will agree that the biggest reveal came near the end. Imagineering Creative Portfolio executive Chris Beatty came on stage to speculate about what could be beyond Big Thunder Mountain at Walt Disney World. This included a potential Coco and Encanto themed area, which both make sense to include since it would be a pretty clean transition from Frontierland to a more Central and South American themed area. However, I think something that definitely stood out from those two ideas was the suggestion of a villain themed area. And I'm just going to let the audience reaction speak for itself.
But it's something that we know all of you talk about. And it's a fun idea that's always in the back of our minds. And it's an area overrun by villains.
I'm gonna guess this hasn't just crossed our mind, but 7,000 other people as well. We love maybe to see this idea happen.
That crowd was going wild, and I can't blame them. I had a similar reaction to the news. Imagineering had basically just confirmed that the Dark Kingdom was very real and could even be coming to the parks. So what are we doing here then? That's the answer to our question, right? Dark Kingdom is really gonna happen. Well, that's the issue. They didn't exactly say that. I've seen a fair amount of criticism for this reveal since it happened, and I can't say it isn't for good reason. The reveal was just for a Blue Sky project. It was basically just an open-ended thought from the Imagineers that they decided to show us. Nothing about it was really confirmed or official. The idea of a villains-themed area was just that, a fun idea. But then, why show it to us? I think the answer is simple. Disney just wanted to gauge our interest. As I mentioned before, a villain-themed area could come off as kinda hostile to younger guests. So I think the Imagineers just wanted to see and make sure that enough people were actually interested in this idea to outweigh these potential negatives. And for a while, that was pretty much all we had to work with. However, just this month, we finally got some news on Beyond Big Thunder. So, earlier this month, there was a presentation from Josh D'Amaro and Disney CEO Bob Iger in Glendale, California. This presentation apparently included some new details about the now 100% confirmed Beyond Big Thunder expansion. Walt Disney World Portfolio Vice President Michael Hungan claimed that the expansion would be about the size of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and I quote, "probably the largest expansion ever at Magic Kingdom." This is some super exciting news. I mean, Galaxy's Edge is massive, so Magic Kingdom receiving an expansion of the same caliber is a huge deal. But despite that, Bob Iger was careful not to give away any hints as to what was coming in this expansion, despite the fact that they supposedly told us 2 years ago at D23. As such, many fans, including myself, have begun to speculate that the plans have changed a little. In fact, I feel like I can prove exactly how the plans have changed. So, let's assume that Beyond Big Thunder is going to have all 3 theme ideas presented at D23 2022. Coco, Encanto, and Villains. Galaxy's Edge is a huge place, but trying to cram all 3 themes into one place may be a little too difficult even for such a large area, especially when you consider that one of these themes is just villains in general. But I think the Imagineers have solved this issue already. At D23 2023, Imagineering announced that they are planning to finally get rid of Dinoland USA and Animal Kingdom and replace it with a Tropical Americas themed area. This retheme is imagined to include attractions based on Indiana Jones as well as Encanto. But if you've been paying attention, you might notice there's a small discrepancy here. Encanto was already considered as a possible part of the Beyond Big Thunder expansion. Now, I'm not saying that Encanto can't be in both Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom, but it would be a little strange if both parks featured the same single movie in their new renovation or expansion, respectively. As such, I propose that Encanto may have been removed altogether from the Beyond Big Thunder expansion, and instead is now going to be used in the Tropical Americas retheme, which would leave more space for Coco and the villains. Coco's environments fit better next to Frontierland anyway between the two, especially considering that Encanto's environment is a lot more lush and green, which would fit nicer in Animal Kingdom. To that point, I think the Coco area may just be a simple expansion to Frontierland. I've noticed a decent amount of Coco theming in Disneyland Paris' Frontierland anyway, and it seems to be working nicely for them. Of course, I still hope they deliver on the promise of being able to visit the Land of the Dead for an attraction, whatever that ends up being. Now, with all that being said, I believe that leaves a considerable amount of space in the expansion. Here, let's continue using the size estimate of Galaxy's Edge, or about 14 acres, for Beyond Big Thunder. Rise of the Resistance, aside from being an incredible ride, takes up a little under 4 acres of that space. So even if we assume that the Coco portion of Beyond Big Thunder will have an absolutely mind-blowing e-ticket attraction on that same caliber, that still leaves up to 10 whole acres of space, and I sincerely doubt that that will also be used on Coco. Instead, I believe Disney is going to use this space for the villain part of Beyond Big Thunder, or in other words, to make the Dark Kingdom real once and for all. After all, of the 3 themes they considered including in Beyond Big Thunder, Villains is really the only one that could make apt use of such a huge amount of land, especially if it isn't competing with Encanto for it anymore. What's to come in this land exactly? I can't say. Even at the D23 2022 reveal, the concept art is incredibly vague about what attractions could be in Dark Kingdom. But if that audience reaction was any indicator, I think the Imagineers knew they had to get to work right away. It's clear. People want to see Dark Kingdom happen for real, and I think it will. I'm certain that at D23 2024 this year, we'll get some grounded information on what's to come for Beyond Big Thunder. And hey, if most of it really ends up being Dark Kingdom, then you heard it here first. Thank you all so much for making it to the end of my first video on this channel. I had a tough time figuring out if I really wanted to make this kind of content, but after so much Park news dropped earlier this April, I felt really inspired to just get my head in the game. I really hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope in the future I can continue to pump out videos like this whenever some juicy new content drops that I think deserves to be talked about more. To that point, I'm actually going to Disney World in July. Last time I was there was April 2022, so I just barely missed the opening of Cosmic Rewind at Epcot. Unfortunately, this means I'm now just barely missing the closing of Test Track for its re-theme, which is honestly a huge blow to me considering that Test Track is one of my favorite rides at the entire resort. I'm hoping that Tiana's Bayou Adventure will be open by the time I get there, but knowing my luck at this point, it's probably going to be announced to have an August opening date or something. Who knows? Speaking of August, I'd also like to do a review or potential livestream reaction to the Parks panel at this year's D23. After all, if my prediction is really correct, I want to make sure I don't miss it. In the meantime, I'll find something else to do. Maybe a video on the Candleman and the Museum of the Weird. I mean, he did just show up in the background of that new Imagineering video. I'm getting ahead of myself. Thanks again so much for watching, and I hope you stick around for what's to come on the channel. Until next time.